Hello and welcome to the Animation Industry Podcast. My name is Terry, and over the years, a few people here and there have asked me if I was ever going to make some merch for this podcast, and guess what I did? So I've mashed together all the cute little chick logos from over the years that this podcast has had into one super ultra cute chick logo, and I have slapped that on t-shirts and mugs and tote bags and stickers. So if you are one of the few people who have been itching to get some animation industry podcast merch, then check out the link in the description of this chat to get some for yourself. This week I am chatting with Alistair Nicholls, a claymation animator from the UK who runs Smile at the Moon Studios. In our chat he shares how he went from living in a houseboat after school trying to pursue his animation dreams to figuring out how to land enough creative work to be able to open a studio on land, and then working with clients like Nickelodeon and musical artists like Felix the First and Far Caspian. Alistair has a really interesting journey of pursuing something that you are passionate about no matter what. So I hope you enjoy this chat. Now let's jump in. Hello, Ali. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a bit nervous now, but
Oh no, why? Because
I'm sure I'll be fine.
you're going to be great. You know, it's a funny thing you told me before I hit record was you've heard my voice for so many hours, and now you're talking to me live. How does that feel?
It's nice. It's nice. It's like you've been living in my ears for so long, and now you're kind of real.
Wow.
Like I've birthed you, and you're kind of, you're real.
Well, I
So
hope I live up to your expectations because I don't know, I'm a very real person. I've never heard your voice before, so I have nothing to expect from you. So maybe that'll take away your nerves. I don't know.
yeah, fingers crossed. It is strange though. Like I've heard you for so many hours in my ears on the podcast, and I keep forgetting that this is live. I keep forgetting that it's actually you, like really there. Fan.
I mean, we all live in a simulation anyways. Is there any burning questions you want to ask me, or like, I don't know, that you've heard my voice for so long and now here we are talking live and it's real, or you just want to go with the flow and we'll see what's up.
Are you doing a sequel to Silly Duck Wizards? Maybe a movie or a musical? Nice.
I can't say anything publicly, so I'm not going to say anything publicly about that.
Nice.
But I would love if Silly Duck Wizard had a lot more content. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Like Tiny Chef. Do
Yeah,
you know Tiny?
yeah.
Like that kind of vibe. Like
I
if it was
love that.
something,
Yeah. I love
yeah.
the journey Tiny Chef went on too. And now, it's a whole show with celebrities and multiple characters and merchandise and yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't really. Tiny Chef kind of started like an organic thing, and then Rachel Larson, I think, is the creator of Tiny Chef. She just
Yeah.
kept. I hope somebody can write me and tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember just like kind of popping up on my feed and kept popping up, and there was like so much all at once, and just like fall in love with it instantly. And with Silly Duck Wizard, I just created the one thing and let that go wild. And I immediately turned it into a pitch and was pitching it at pitching competitions, et cetera, et cetera. And then I signed with a production company, and then I haven't, nothing's been made since, basically. That's the story.
Man. I think it would do really well. I think it's really sweet. It has that Tiny Chef kind of tactile vibe to it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd
I mean,
work on it. If we did a series, hire me. I'll do it for free.
okay. I'm gonna quote you on that. I just looked it up. It is Rachel Larson. I was correct. Great. Um, Great. I'm gonna hire you to do all of my work for free from now on. Great. Um, Silly Duck Wizard beside, I want to talk about you and your claymation journey, which I think is quite incredible. I love that you're pretty much only doing claymation, I think. Is that correct? I mean, some puppet stuff in between, and like, I know you've like made props and things for films, but like, what is, you know, if Ali was given unlimited resources, audience, time, mental energy, what is it that you would be creating?
Um, I mean, probably like claymation,
Yeah.
plasticine,
So
claymation.
you're already doing what you would be doing if you had $5 billion. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I think so. But like this year and like the end of last year, I've been doing more, uh, like a more variety of different stuff. Like
Hmm.
I directed a music video last year that was live action. Um, and
Oh,
it does, I'm doing like oil on glass animation, um, like mixed in with it. And I did another music video. I finished it last week, which doesn't have any, it's stop motion, but it's with this guy, a wooden kind of fabricy thing.
like a mime
Um,
person, kind of.
yeah, but there's no plasticine at all, which is a lovely change. Like
Oh.
animating plasticine is such a pain sometimes, man. I'm sure you know, like you get it.
So
Um,
like for me, the pain comes from always having to like put an armature inside and like for it to hold itself up. And then when you move the clay will move and the armature won't. And then you have to like bend the wire inside and redo the clay. And then the whole thing falls over anyways, and then melts under the lights. And then, but it is the fact, I don't know. I find it, I haven't done claymation in such a long time. That's actually how I got started, but I found it the fastest way to like export my brain ideas, like create a character so fast and just do like a very simple thing and like a little monologue and then that's it.
Completely. It is. It is, really is. It's why it's so good, I think, for like children and for people who haven't done stop motion before because it's so instinctive.
Yeah.
You don't have to be good at drawing. You don't have to be good at computers. You don't have to be good at any of that stuff. It's like everyone loves to play with plasticine.
I wonder
It
if
every,
there's I wonder if there's like a study that's been done on like our brain psychology on how like our hands are perfect for like forming and molding like clay somehow. Like it's just natural, I think.
yeah. I mean, it might be like some prehistoric thing when we played with like um, some kind of dinosaur poo or something. But it is a natural thing, though. I don't know what that is about. I mean, I'm doing it now. I'm fiddling with
You're
plants.
literally, I mean, like I'm like squishing my chin. You're like squishing some clay. Like it's a thing. It's totally a thing. I mean, like I don't know. I grew up all like in like grade school. My teachers on my report cards, it'd always be like Terry. Well, they used to call me TJ because my middle name is Jonathan. TJ, Terry Jonathan.
That's very cool, TJ. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. When I I thought it was not cool when I was a kid, and I was like, TJ doesn't sound very grown up, so I want to go by Terry. But now TJ sounds cooler. So like, but my report cards would always be like, he's fidgeting all the time. He's like playing with stuff. Like you can't keep him still. He's always like, and like now it's my career. So screw you, grade school teachers. I don't know. It's just a natural thing. I wanted to ask you, how are you involved in so many different creative endeavors? Because like, you know, the saying like work gets more work or whatever, like you do one thing and then that gets noticed and you get more of that thing. But you just told me you directed a live action music video, which is completely different than sitting by yourself for 40 hours straight, making teeth out of clay move, you know, like, so how do people are like, you know, we need a director for a music video. You know who we should call up? That clay guy, Ali. Like, how does that happen? And also, like, you know, you're also making props for short films. You're doing claymation short films. You're doing spots for like short films and Nickelodeon and blah blah blah. Like, you're doing a bunch of different stuff.
Well, the live action thing was a friend of mine. A friend of mine is in the band, and they were just looking for a music video, and I wanted to like do more live action stuff and do more stuff away from plasticine, and just good timing, really.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's similar to the prop making stuff. It's just kind of uh, who you know. really. Um, like I made some masks out of paper mache and things for this short film, and that was just because I knew someone involved with it, and they were looking for someone. Uh, yeah, it's just and also lying a lot, not a lot, not a lot, a little bit.
Enough.
Yeah, enough. Like sometimes a little white lie here and there. It's like, yeah, I've done this before when you haven't.
So like somebody's like, can you, we need paper mache masks. And you're like never done paper mache. And you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I paper mache, I do every day, all the time. I love
You
it.
co-
I don't lie loads though. Like I
So,
don't
but what if
constantly.
they're like, show me some of your work? And you're like, oh, I do it every day, but I never take pictures.
Yeah,
Come
you
by in a
can.
week. I'm open next
Yeah,
week in my apartments. You can come by and see then.
it is that. Yeah, you just have to go. Yeah, I'll show them to you in a bit. Yeah, but it is. You do kind of have to, you know, not lie, but
No, no,
yeah,
so for me, like in my imagination, I guess, or my mind, I already know if I can and cannot accomplish something with the skills that I know. Like, 'cause, like I've never made paper mache masks myself, but if somebody asked me to, I'd be like, of course, yeah, I can do that, and I would just figure it out. But if somebody's like, hey, can you code me uh, a software that tracks Elon Musk's plane, I'd be like, in my mind, I'd be like, I have no clue how to do this, and I'm not going to say yes because it's going to be way too hard for me to figure out. Like, does this happen to you too, where you're like, okay, this I can figure this thing out, so I'm just going to say I can do it?
yeah. Sometimes, like I did a music video with this guy, that little fella.
Yeah.
Um, And I did a lot of like green screen stuff and stuff with in After Effects. It was like a 3D camera within After Effects, and you separate the layers and make a 3D camera. And the music video had a really, really short deadline, and I kind of didn't really know how to do it. But I thought, well, it can't be too difficult. Turns out it was.
I was
It
just
was
gonna say,
insane. But like YouTube is just a gold mine. Like if I'm ever stuck with anything, it's just the internet
yeah.
is always, you know.
And now you have that skill in your repertoire, if you can call it that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, interesting. So a lot of your work that you've done recently has come from people in your immediate network that you know. A friend who has a band wants a music video, and of course they would call you up because you're the creative guy that's done music videos before. Another person, she's working on a short film. She needs masks. Hey, I know that guy who makes puppet stuff all the time. He's probably a good fit. But like, what about stuff for like Nickelodeon or like Felix the First or like you've done some bigger client things that I'm assuming you aren't like friends with the Nickelodeon team to get a spot there. Like how does stuff like that happen when you're just like, I don't know, making stuff that's fun and cool?
it well, the Nickelodeon thing happened. I think the majority of it really just happened because of Instagram.
Hmm.
Um, because I post a lot of stuff on Instagram,
Yeah, you have a
and
lot of followers too. Like I
yeah, I'm
think you're at
lucky.
like 60,000 or something.
It's ridiculous. It's just it scares me. You know what I'm saying? Like all those eyes. It's not
Why does
nice.
it scare you?
Well, because it's like when I'm making stuff, it's like I forget people are going to see it. Like I just make it how I want to do it, and then I
Okay.
forget and I post it. And it's like, oh, I just kind of forget people are actually going to end up seeing it. Um, but yeah, the Nickelodeon thing was uh, I sent a message to the director, Max, because I'd seen some other work he'd done on Instagram, and I just put, I really love your stuff. You're brilliant. Um,
Max.
Max, I don't
Okay.
know how to pronounce his last name, unfortunately,
It's okay.
but he's brilliant. And yeah, and we followed each other and we started talking. And then like a month later, I got an email from the producer saying, Max is working on this project. He needs some claymation. Do you want to do it? And it's like the Felix the First thing was I did some animation for this director um, for a music video he was doing, and then he did another music video, and they spoke to him and asking if he knew anybody that did claymation, and he told them about me, and that's how that happened. So it's a
Wow.
mixture of like word of mouth and people just seeing stuff online, I suppose.
I think it's really interesting that, I mean, that's incredible that, how you've gotten these opportunities and you've done amazing work with them. I think it's interesting that because how am I saying this? There's so many people actively trying to build audiences on social media and like, trying to do things that are popular, get more eyeballs. They're constantly worried about what people are going to think, and they're building stuff that they think is going to be attractive to get more eyes. But it sounds like you're living like the pure artist for the arts like mindset where you're like, I want to do this for for like myself and like creating what I want to create, I guess. And then the eyes are just coming.
Yeah, it is like that, really.
Dang.
Um, I know it does sound kind of selfish to like say that I just make stuff for myself, but it is kind of true. It's like, I mean, it's kind of different for commissioned stuff or stuff I'm directing because it's what someone else wants. That's kind of a different. But for like stuff on Instagram and some stuff I've directed, it's like I just kind of do whatever I want to see or like whatever I like and whatever I want to do and put it out there. And if people connect with it, then that's great. And if they don't, then that's fine as well. It's like it's just as long as I'm happy with it, that's all that really matters. Because I don't want to be in a position where I'm sort of changing how I'm thinking about things and how I'm making things in order to fit a certain demographic or a certain if something's popular or whatever, I kind of want to just do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I make something, like by committee and end up with a like a Marvel type film or like a sequel and prequel and do you know what I mean? Like films that are obviously made
100%. Yeah.
by a group of people, yeah.
Yeah, I feel this very, very similarly. And I have this worry in my mind that like I feel very fortunate that I've been able to get the opportunities that I have, but I have this worry in my mind that if I stop getting opportunities, that like, maybe I go for a long time where I don't have opportunities, then I'm gonna have to change what I'm doing artistically to try to attract new opportunities. Because like for me in my story, like I quit my previous career that was going well and I could have, stayed there for the rest of my life. And so like in my mind, like I gave up all that to pursue my love for like animation and arts. And I don't want to cross the path where I'm like, now I'm doing this purely to get work because then I would just go back to my other life. So I totally understand that. But like, have you thought about like what happens if you stop getting opportunities and like now you have to like support yourself in ways that you didn't have to before using your art?
I suppose it's more not really. It's more like, the reason why I'm trying to do more live action stuff and do stuff without plasticine and do like oil paint animation is I kind of realized that I want to do more than just plasticine. Like I want
Hmm.
to see I love plasticine. Plasticine's great. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I want to do other stuff as well. And because my thought process is that if I can do other stuff, live action stuff, different types of animation, then I'll always have work to fall back on. And I'll be able to take what I use from those different mediums and put
Totally.
them in stop motion or, whatever it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering,
Yeah.
like what is your work-life balance kind of like? Because for me, like right now, I find because I'm like working full time and I have been for almost 2 years, I guess, at the same video game company, which has been amazing. And I feel like super fortunate at everything and I love what I'm doing, but I haven't done any personal work within that amount of time. Like I just find that like when the day's over and I'm doing this podcast on the side and I have other things on the side and blah, blah, blah. I just don't have enough mental capacity to do my own creative work. Whereas like in my past career, all of my free time that I was waking up extra early every morning to do creative stuff because I just had to like put it out there. So like how are you managing, trying a new oil painting animation and working on like a live action music video? Like how is that time management for you?
Um, well, I think it's kind of difficult when you do what you love as a job, because I mean, obviously, I'm in a very privileged position to be able to do that. And I still can't really believe it, to be honest with you. But it's difficult because, you know, before I did it full time, it was my hobby. But now I do it for a living, it's also my hobby.
Right.
So I just kind of do it all the time. I
But
have
you
days off.
aren't, but like I guess what I'm saying is like you're not being paid to do like a new experimental type of animation that you're trying out, right? Like you're doing that on your own time, right? So are
Yeah.
you like working full time during the day and then doing cool animation projects at night? Or are you like, I have a month off from projects right now, I'm going to try something new?
Yeah, it's kind of like today I was making models for a like commission that I'm doing at the minute. Um, and then in the evening I've been oil painting and doing those sorts of things. Uh, yeah, I think it's because, being freelance, I kind of have to take every job that I can. Um, if I could, yeah, I'd love to be able to say, no, I'm not working for a month. I'm going to do what I want, but I can't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That,
Having said
that,
that, I'm doing like I've been storyboarding and writing a short film, stop motion film.
oh,
Um, and I'm talking with a producer, and we're going to try and get funding this year. So, yeah,
that's
that'll be fun.
amazing. Is the producer somebody you know in your network, or is this somebody you've like scouted out?
Yeah, I just scouted him out. I just been on the lookout for someone, and
Wow.
he's done sort of stop motion, short filmy stuff before, and funding stuff. Um,
Interesting. Because like that is very interesting to me because I have my own short film ideas, but like my mind immediately is just like I have to self-fund it. Like who's going to pay me to make these crazy, wacky, weird things that people normally don't understand my stuff when it's on paper. It has to like be produced for the like it when they watch it, they're like, oh, I get it now. Like for instance, the Silly Duck Wizard. Like I showed a couple people the in progress and stuff, and the reactions I got was like, no, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is not good. I was like, just wait, just wait. So like I think it's interesting that you're going the producer route and that like so you just found somebody that has produced short films before and you're like, hey, I have an idea. Do you want to team up? And they're like, sure.
Pretty much, like he
Wow.
he produced a feature film and got funding for it from somewhere, and yeah, and I saw it and it was great, and I just sent him a message. And he lives kind of ish locally, sort of, not really. Um, and yeah, I mean the funding it could potentially be through the BFI, British
Wow.
Film Institute, because they do this funding thing apparently. Uh, yeah, so that would be a nice chance for me to be able to do, take 2 months off commissions and just focus on doing a short claymation
Wow.
film.
Wow. This is, I love that. That's amazing to me. It's never really, I feel like in my mind, I'd be too scared to reach out to a random producer and be like, hi, I want to make something. Did you feel any fear in that? Did you like go through like 100 contacts before like it just kind of happened and they were like, yeah, of course, I like your work.
Uh, Not particularly, because I mean the worst thing he could say is no or just
Right.
ignore it. So
Right.
it's like, and it's not like he's going to go around my house and beat me up or anything.
Can
So
you imagine if that was a possibility of you reaching out to somebody by email? They could either say no or come and beat you up.
I'll be scared then. If that happens, I'll definitely be scared. Yeah. But no, it's like sometimes you've just got to do these things. And I was just lucky that um he he's just a lovely bloke and has done funding things before and done stuff for BFI before. And it's it's nice to be able to take what I've learned from doing commissions and music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
VFI, that's what, visual
oh
film is?
yeah,
Sorry?
British Film Institute.
Oh, British Film Institute. Right. Makes
Uh,
sense. Yeah, they fund it. We have the NFB here in Canada. It's very, I think it's different, but it's similar, I guess. They produce films as well. I guess, is it more like a grant? Like you just like they send you the money, or do you have to produce it with them?
no, they just send you money.
Great.
And boy, you have to do
Right.
there's a whole
Application process.
paperwork.
Yeah. So it'd be more like an art grant. We have a bunch of art grants here. I feel like the
Yeah.
US doesn't have those, and then Europe and Canada, we're a little bit more blessed with funding for short films and animation.
Oh, you should go for it, man. You should do Silly Duck Wizard or a sequel, like Silly Duck Wizard in Space or something.
I already applied to all the grants last year and got rejected from all of them.
Selfish. That's self.
Unfortunately. So that's not great. I feel like like at least for the grants in Ontario and Toronto and Canada, you have to meet certain criteria. And I feel like it's a little bit more unspoken criteria. Like, is your project bringing forward like a diverse, like culturally relevant message? Like it is it like impactful somewhat politically or something like that? Not politically, but like, what something like cultural versus like I just want to make some crazy short film that I think is gonna uh stand out and uh anyways, is it like that in the UK as well? Where like the
Well,
films that get funded are typically more things that, are culturally like playing to, not in a bad way, but like, bringing out minority voices or like backgrounds or things like that.
they are, but I don't know if I should really say it. But you kind of have to twist what you're doing to fit. Like if they say, oh, we're looking for short films that involve the community, you have to go, oh, what a coincidence. My film, it's about this, but it's a metaphor for this, and it involves the community. So I think that's the plan, is just to try and, under the guise of metaphors,
Yes.
sort of make
Hmm.
it fit what they're going for, and then just make something weird and kooky out blast thing.
I mean, I guess I didn't metaphor my applications enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's what
mean,
producers are for, man. That's why you need that's why I'm so blessed with, yeah, you just need someone. You should
yeah,
reach out, email people, because like,
I
yeah,
do. I know
you
a
should
lot of
do it.
people from this podcast, 200 and something episodes.
Or
Okay,
you could fund
okay.
it. You could do like a sponsored, um, you could do a sponsored thing. Or Kickstarter. Have you tried Kickstarter and stuff like that?
I have not. I'm too afraid, like, of failure. And like I just have to put my mind to it really, I think. And I haven't quite done that yet.
Yeah.
Um, it's 2024 now. Maybe I should make some resolutions to do these things. So I'm also planning out what I'm going to be doing the rest of the year, and maybe making a short film is one of the things on my serious mind. So yeah, Kickstarter. Yeah. I have friends that have done Kickstarters and they've been successful, so at least I can reach out to them and ask for tips and things. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, maybe I will. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah, I think you should, man. It's like, the stuff is Kickstarter is there to be used, and the worst that can happen is you don't make any money, and it's like, well, at least you tried it. Do you know what I mean? At least you had a go.
Right.
Um, I
I don't
mean,
know.
what if I could give you money to do it myself?
In my mind, like having a go and failing is worse than not trying at all for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's like a reputation thing or an ego thing, but there's like something to unpack for me somewhere that says like I have to either, be wildly successful or not even bother. which is bad.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people have that. I think it's the same as uh, like when people want to create something, if they want to paint or draw
Yeah.
or make music or do photography, it's like, oh, I'm not going to try it because it'll be bad. And it's like, well, if you've never done it before, you probably will be bad.
Yes, you
But
will be bad,
it,
100%.
it's like when Picasso started, he was probably shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
you just
Well, he
have to
wasn't
do.
even he wasn't even good as a like a naturalist or realist painter. He gave up on that because he wasn't getting any attention for his work until he tried going the abstract route. So he
Yeah,
wasn't even good when he was good.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's like I think when you make anything, you just have to understand that some of it probably won't be any good, but the more you do it, and it's like if you want to learn how to draw, if you do 15 minutes a day for a month, you'll be better by the end of that month than if you wouldn't have done anything at all.
Right.
Do
I
you
guess
know what I
I
mean?
guess I also feel like I don't want to put something out there and like, email everybody I know, talk about it on the podcast, get all my connections, and for it to fail, and then like try again and just become the guy who like uh I mean, this is all speculative and it's like a pessimistic glass half empty way of thinking, but then become known as like the person that like, they're always trying and it never goes anywhere. And like, you know, I know some people in my life that they're always trying and trying and trying and they never like really get anywhere, and you kind of get used to like seeing them always kind of like trying the next thing, and you're like, well, it's okay, but it's not great. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to go that route myself. So when I
Yeah.
when I do put my mind to something, I take it like so seriously. Like even like getting into animation school, like I was like it was a complete secret of everybody in my life except for, my family and friends, whatever. But like I was getting tutoring 3 times a week. I was practicing every night. I was blah blah blah, and like then I got in, and the rest is history. But like, do you don't feel like this at all, you're telling me?
Well, I do. Like when I first started doing stop motion at uni, um, I I loved making the things. I loved plotzing, I loved painting, I loved doing all that. But the actual animation, I was kind of scared to do it because I wasn't very good. And I'm still not very good, but I was worse, if that's possible. And uh, it kind of stopped me from doing it properly. But then after a while, I thought, well, I might as well just try and practice because I'm never going to get anywhere. So I do get it, but you know, I've kind of I don't really care if people think it's good or not. I
Hmm,
don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know, but just as long as I'm happy with what I'm making, and I
interesting.
don't really care.
So then why I mean, I love that way of, I wish I could take that part of your brain and like into my brain, but like why post anything online or whatnot if you kind of are afraid of people seeing it and don't really, you say you don't care, you know?
Well, that whole social media thing really started as a way to get work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew that was the answer before I asked it.
Yeah, because like when I first started, while I was still at uni in like the second year of uni, and I had a DSLR camera and a laptop, and I used to make short things on my desk in my student accommodation and just post them on Instagram. Um, and that's how it really started, just to get work and just to kind of get my stuff, you know, out there. Um, and it's mad. It's mad. Like I never thought growing up that I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I feel just very blessed and very lucky. It's yeah, and it is partly, as much as I hate social media, it's partly due to social media, really.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same for a lot of creatives and
Oh,
artists and
totally,
things.
yeah. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's amazing. So before you started uni, what was the aim with your career trajectory, I guess.
I don't know. When growing up, when I was younger, when I was a nipper, um, I always loved Wallace and Gromit and
Yeah.
animation, stop motion. My granddad and my gran used to do stop motion as a hobby, on Super 8.
Wow.
Yeah, it's mad. It's ridiculous. They had an
What?
old Super 8 film camera, and they used to, in the winters, because it was cold in the evenings, they'd set up Super 8 film camera on the kitchen table and make sets out of cardboard, make things out of cardboard, and do like, they did Cinderella and like Guy Fawkes, and
Wow.
yeah, and then they'd project them for like the family and for all of us to watch. Uh, yeah, and it's
That's
obviously magical.
incredible.
I don't know how they learn how to do it. I don't know how they got into that at all. Not at all. But
You need to
growing up,
preserve those films. You need to get them off Super 8 and onto something digital.
yeah, I've got a, USB stick with them on, and they're on DVD as well.
You need something more stable than a USB stick.
I do. But it's beautiful. Like growing up watching that was so magical.
Hmm.
Like a magic trick. Do you know what I mean? Well, I'm sure
I
you
know, I
understand.
exactly know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think because my grandparents were doing it, I was like, okay, it's possible. Like watching Wallace and Gromit seems so complex and so difficult to do, but because they were doing it, it seems possible. Although it is hard. It's a
Yeah.
pain in the arse. Um, but
So
yeah,
then,
like yeah.
so then you went to uni and you started making little clay animation films in your residence and posting them online, and you just started getting work. And here we are.
Yeah, kind of. Like I used to make short films with a friend of mine, called Ryan. Hello, Ryan. And Harry, if you're watching. Hello.
Hi, Ryan and Harry.
Hello. And yes, we used to make short films. And then I went to uni and decided to do animation. Uh, and the course wasn't very good, to be honest. Um, so I didn't really go into uni much. I just kind of stayed in my dorm room and did uh things. So experimented with animation and plotzing and things. Uh yeah. And then when I was gonna leave uni, it was like, well, I can either get a job, like a real job, or try and do this animation thing. Uh and I went for that. And yeah. It was tough, man.
Yeah.
The first
What
couple
was
of months.
what was your real job?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, you
Oh,
didn't.
I
Oh, you
didn't
didn't
know.
go for the real job. Yeah.
Yeah. I just decided to go to try and do stop motion instead. Which, like, I was obviously younger then and didn't have any responsibilities or anything. So, you know, um,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, it was
responsibilities are just made up things anyways.
true. It's very true.
Well, some of them are, I guess. Okay, so what made it so tough coming out of university and deciding not to get a real job, quote unquote, because like, it's even tough to get a real job, but you decided I'm going to I'm going to keep making claymations until I can pay my rent type of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. At that time, I was in London and I was living on a houseboat because if you live on a houseboat, you don't have to pay rent. So
It's like that here too.
it's great,
You
man.
were
It's
living on a
great.
houseboat. That sounds awesome and terrible.
It was both of those combined, yeah.
What's the worst thing about living on a houseboat? I'm assuming it's like plumbing or something.
Um, uh, I mean, there's a time, the houseboat was kind of falling apart. There was a time when the engine cut out and I was stranded in the middle of a canal. Another time where I had to push the boat, like the boat got stuck, so I had to jump out and push it. The electricity stopped working, so I didn't have any
Wait.
electricity.
How heavy or big is this boat that you can jump out and push it?
It was like what, 25 foot, 30 foot, something like that.
And you
Yeah,
can
but
just
that
push that by paddling yourself in the water?
I, I mean, a little bit, not all the way, just like a heave, and then I had to jump on.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
yeah, but it was just so I could do stop motion, really. It's because, in the course.
Wait. Are you telling me your first like stop motions came from a houseboat?
Oh no, no, I did try to animate on the houseboat. I tried, but I couldn't get enough power because I had solar panels, so I couldn't get enough power.
For the
Um,
lights and the camera and the computer and everything
yeah,
going all at once, it just didn't work. But also
yeah,
like this rocking back and forth, I guess, of the sets.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that I wish you had because that would have just been I would have gone back and immediately and tried to figure out which animation you made from a houseboat.
yeah. That would have been great marketing. Like that would have been great,
Yeah, you could be Houseboat Studios.
Yeah, yeah. But well, I had a proper indoor, you know, studio, not on the water, and it was, yeah, and I did everything from there. When I started, but it was like, you know, in the first few months I made like 50 quid, and it was difficult, like just constantly emailing people, posting work,
Yeah.
looking for work. But slowly, the jobs started to come in and be more regular. But it was a slow, old, painful process. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, that makes total sense. It sucks. I'm sorry. What, just to finish this thread, what is the best thing about living on a houseboat?
Um, just loads of, I loved it. It was
Yeah.
like waking up like in the morning and just seeing a swan, just chilling, just a swan, doing washing up and seeing like ducks and shit. Lovely. Really, really sweet. Um, yeah, it's very freeing, really freeing because you're not tied to anything. You don't have to worry about, you know, uh, anything. You can just sail off and yeah, I had a shower and a kitchen and a bed and a toilet and
Wow.
yeah, I advise it. You should give
So
it a
you could
go, man.
just be like, I'm going upstream to whatever city and dock there for the day.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
like,
always think around London, but you could potentially do that. Yeah.
wow, wow. I don't even know where to begin to get a houseboat. I mean, here they have really fancy houseboats in Toronto. Like, I don't even know if I could afford one. It's probably just as much as a house. Okay, so you moved onto dry land and you were emailing everybody you could think of. You made $50 for a couple months. And then
Yeah.
was there like a switch? Or was it like a slow, like then you made $100 for a couple months, then you made $300 for a couple months, then you're making rent. Like,
Yeah. There was really I kind of I forced myself to post on social media and make something new every couple of days.
yeah.
So I'd post something and then have to come up with an idea and make it, and the next day post something new. Um, and like forcing myself to do that. Obviously, the gods of YouTube, not YouTube, gods of Instagram algorithm love that stuff.
I don't even, are
Uh,
you even on YouTube? I tried to find you on YouTube and I could not.
I don't do that sort of thing. No. Um, but yeah, and it kind of was a gradual thing. Like the jobs just started to get more regular, and the clients started to get better. Um, yeah,
Are you still cold emailing a lot of people all the time or like frequently? Or there's enough word of mouth and enough follow-up jobs and enough stuff that it's more stable now?
it is. It's more stable now. I'm with an agency, so that helps a
I
lot.
was gonna ask you because I had suspicions that you were under representation for some things. So how did you get with an agency?
How did I go? I I don't actually. I can't remember how.
You woke up one morning, there was a swan, and then you look to your right and there's an agency. Perfect. That the story's great.
Uh, Swan. Oh, it was like I think I emailed them about it, or they might have emailed me about it.
Okay.
It was an email, uh, and yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I mean, I've signed recently. I signed to another one,
Oh,
um, which is very exciting. Um, but yeah, it's just, it's nice when you work on a project, and you don't have to deal with everything, and you're not, setting up meetings and doing all the kind of business stuff. You can
totally.
just do
You can
the
just do the
creative
work
stuff.
and take the money and that's it. Yeah, it's super nice. I think that's great. And also like, big kudos to you for sticking it through for so long when, there didn't seem to be any light at the end of the tunnel when you're making no money and living in a falling apart houseboat that's also a dream.
Yeah, it
I
was.
think that it takes such like there's so much pressure to like get a stable job or like something that pays the bills and like not a lot of people take the risk and have the courage to you know just do the grind with nothing coming at them in the future. Like did you reach a point where you said like if I don't get something by the end of the year or something like that, like I have to find a different opportunity of career path?
Yeah, yeah. There was definitely a time when, uh, you know, when I thought, well, if it doesn't get any better, I'm gonna have to at least get a part-time job or something.
Yeah.
But it really was like, it was quite a freeing existence living on a boat and going to the studio and uh, making things. And yeah, I mean, it was like I lived on land. I lived in a normal house just as the jobs started picking up and things started getting better. Um, which was nice.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I, I think I was just in a very privileged position to be able to do that because, I was only really looking after myself.
Yeah.
I don't have any children. I've got a cat. Um, and yeah, I understand that a lot of people can't do that, wouldn't be able to live on a boat and do that. But yeah, it was fun, but I don't advise it.
Great. Maybe after this episode comes up, you'll see a rise in boat animators.
Yeah, there's a lot though. Oh my God, I got a job through that. Yeah. I moored up the boat, like on the canal.
Yeah.
Moored up, jumped. I had a sign on the side of the boat that said, "Do you like stop motion animation? Follow me on Instagram."
Wow.
And this bloke who I moored up to happened to be an animation director. Just purely
He was just
coincidence.
walking. You just literally were like tying a rope and he was walking by.
He moored his boat next to
Oh,
mine.
he also had a boat.
Yeah. What are the chances of that?
So houseboat stop motion is a thing in London, it sounds like.
Apparently so. Yeah, I know another animator that lives on a boat, Isabel. Yeah, apparently there is.
What? I've
Yeah,
never heard of
apparently
this
it's a big
before.
thing.
I've talked to a lot of people from the UK and nobody's ever mentioned the community of houseboat animators.
Yeah, it was mad. Like we started talking and we still talk and we still kind of work on things together.
Yeah,
And this
amazing.
years together.
I mean, if I saw a sign anywhere that said, "Do you like stop motion animation?" I would just instantly get in touch with that person because it's like such a rare, unique, same word, personality of of breed of person that does stop motion and enjoys stop motion. Like I feel like there doesn't exist a stop motion animator, at least in Toronto, that I don't know already, just by the association of like, who we all know each other type of thing. And if there is somebody in Toronto that's a stop motion animator, then you're listening to this and you know me, get in touch. Wow, houseboat animation. I never would have thought to ask you about that point in your life just based on your work.
Yeah, there was a lot of a lot of people I met doing that were artists and musicians, uh, and animators and sort of creative types.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is the state of where you're at now? Like, are you like, it looks like some sort of studio that I'm looking at. So is this your your living space? Like my living space, like I just turn my bedroom into a stop motion studio, or I go work in somebody else's stop motion studio. Like, like, you live on land now. You're getting work consistently in different areas. You have your own studio. Is that amazing?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a studio. I don't know how big it is. I don't know how big it is, but it's big enough.
Yeah, big
And
enough.
it's just nice to be able to separate it, like to be able to go somewhere to work.
Yes, that's the one thing so I mentioned like I turn my bedroom into a stop motion studio basically. And it's not great on my mentality when I'm animating in my bedroom and then like sleeping in there either, and I can't touch anything. It's not great.
Yeah,
So
I've got-
yeah, I totally get that. But for me, like I haven't had enough consistent stop motion work for it to make sense for me to get a separate studio. So like you have the studio year round, or like you rent when you have like work, or like how does that work for you?
yeah, I've got it year round. I've got it. I pay a monthly rent, and I've got it all the time. It's open 24 hours, which is really good. And yeah, it's I really because for a short time I did do work in my room, in my bedroom. Um, but I just couldn't sustain that really.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's I love it. I used to work in a my old studio was in the basement of a shopping center, and it didn't have any windows or any
That
natural
sounds
light.
perfect for stop motion.
It was perfect, but it was like being in a prison or being a mole or something. Um, so this one has got a window. If you can that there.
Is that like the classic like fire escape window? Like it's big enough for a human to like crawl through in
I think
case?
so. But it's nice, man. Like I can watch pigeons and see rooftops and hear rain. It's good.
Love it, love it. I mean, as soon as you said you were in like a shopping center, I was thinking like you could just go upstairs and like have food court lunch and go to the dollar store and buy some extra supplies easily and go back to prison afterwards.
Yeah, it did. It was like that. It was good, but I just couldn't deal with, because I'm there, 5 days a week. It's like I couldn't deal with not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
being outside. So this
Uh,
place is perfect, really.
that makes a lot of sense to me. So like what is it sounds kind of like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you've kind of like arrived in a state that's like pretty good right now. Like you're getting work, you have a studio, like you went through a lot to get here. Like what is the thing you're still working towards? Is it to like stay in this state, or is it like, you mentioned a short film, but is it to work on like more and bigger things, or produce something yourself, or I don't know, try experiment with different mediums people aren't really doing? Like I don't know, like what is, now that you're kind of here, where do you see yourself going?
Um, that's a very good question. Everything you said, all of it.
Great. I
Um,
love it. Perfect. Okay.
I suppose you know, I, like I'm potentially doing a short film uh mid of this year, which is very fun, and I'm going to be hopefully directing more live action stuff and more different types of animation. So I think really I want to get into directing more, um, as opposed to doing everything on my own or with a few people. Because as much as I love doing that, it's like there's a lot of things that I'm not very good at. Um, so and like I kind of hesitate to call myself an animator because I can't really, and I can do a little bit, but not. There are some people that are brilliant, um, and I just like to do more directing and less doing everything um, on my own, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. That's really it's interesting to me that you started off with claymation, which is a very like do it by yourself medium, And directing is like the opposite. It's like involving a big team of people. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know that I was just thinking that's interesting that you started off with something so solo and now you're moving into bigger projects.
Yeah, I think I love both of those things. Like I love doing stop motion because it is just me in a room with plasticine and it's very kind of meditative and, you know, kind of a more of a solo thing. But then live action stuff, like the music video I did a little while ago, is really nice because it's a group of people and you're working together and you can collaborate.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love both of those things, you know. Uh,
that's allowed.
yeah, yeah,
It's allowed.
I'm glad, yeah.
Cool. Well, we've talked about quite a lot. Is there anything we didn't chat about yet, or anything that you wanted to add, maybe as we're wrapping up a little bit here?
Um,
Most of the people I interview say nope.
no. Oh, I suppose the only thing what I just like, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you so much. Um, it's yeah, I just love the podcast. It's yeah, like a lot of times I get emails, I get messages from people asking about stop motion and how to get into it. And I always send them your
Oh wow.
podcast. It's like there's so much information there and it's great. Um, yeah. Oh, also, if anyone is watching and they follow me on Instagram, thank you. Thank you for all the support, everything. Um, and yeah, that's it. Drink water, I suppose.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's good
Uh,
too. Yeah, yeah, amazing. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that a lot. I've been, gosh, is this year six now? I think it is year six that I've been doing
wow,
this, and yeah, I mean, I love talking to people like you. I especially because when I started stop motion, it was a very solo thing and I didn't know anybody, and hearing other people's stories is so inspiring for me, and I learn something every time, and I feel compelled to get more serious about a short film and finding a producer after talking to you. So I'm taking away that.
that's good. You should. I think you really should. Yeah, I'm gonna start a campaign to make sure you do it. I think.
Okay. Oh no. I get a knock on my door.
Yeah, I'll climb in through your kitchen window and
I'll
just.
go I'll go live on a houseboat in that case. I'll run away. Well, Ali, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for following the podcast, and I really appreciate it. It's been super great to chat with the brain behind the cute little stop motion frogs I see on Instagram lately. I hope we
Thank
see
you.
more of those little clay boys coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah, you might do soon, hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully, hopefully. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. And if you're listening and you want to follow or reach out to Ali, you can do so by checking out his website, which is Smile at the Moon Studios, or following him on Instagram, which is instagram.com/smile at the moon _ And I'll include both those links in the description of this chat. So thank you so much for listening. And that's all for now. Okay, bye. The music for this podcast was composed by Willem Mendo and the graphics by Luhan Wang. I encourage you to look them up if you've enjoyed their work.